Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for clicking on this video. So let's dive straight into it. Over the weekend, veteran Nigerian actress Sola Sobowale's daughter got married, and it was indeed a beautiful ceremony. It was a gathering filled with love, laughter, elegance, and everything you would expect from a fairy tale wedding. A lot of notable guests were in attendance, from political figures to entertainers and actors, and from the pictures and videos making the rounds, it looked like a truly memorable celebration, and it was star-studded. But while many people were admiring the beauty, the glamour, and the aesthetics of the whole event, something very different was happening in another corner of the internet. As I scrolled through Facebook and Instagram, I started noticing certain posts. These posts were popping up repeatedly. At first, I ignored them because honestly, they didn't make much sense to me. But when I saw more and more of them all saying almost the same thing, I stopped and paid attention. And that was when I realized people had already started analyzing this marriage, a marriage that has barely even begun. Some people had gone as far as concluding that the groom is not genuinely into his bride. Yes, that's the conclusion they have come to. I started seeing posts like, if a man shows you who he is, believe him, and why force it if he's not there? What caught my attention was this: how did so many people arrive at the same conclusion? Because usually when conversations like this gain this much traction, they are often based on something people believe they have seen. So naturally, I got curious. I started digging deeper and eventually I found some of the videos and pictures that people are using as proof to support these claims. But before I say anything or share my own thoughts about the clips, I want you to watch carefully and see if you notice what everyone else claims to have seen.
Ní orúkọ màmá wa Sola Sobowale, wọ́n ní kí a máa bá wọn dúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ pé wọ́n ṣe ọkọ ọ̀fọ̀mọ ènìyàn ṣe.
We appreciate His Excellency. Will ask the parents of the bride to join in for.
Now, even though I cannot conclusively say that I have seen every single video or picture that sparked this conversation online, these two clips are the ones I came across the most. And honestly, this seems to be the major proof people are using to support their claims. Let's start with the first video. In the first clip, we see Sola Sobowale's daughter dancing while her husband is seated. And this particular moment got a lot of people talking, because while she was dancing, celebrating, and clearly enjoying herself, the groom appeared unusually still. He wasn't dancing, he wasn't cheering, he wasn't visibly reacting. In fact, some people even described him as sitting like a statue. And from that moment alone, many people concluded that he looked uninterested, almost like he was physically present but emotionally absent. That became one of the major talking points online. People kept asking, why would the groom look this serious or this detached on his wedding day? Then we moved to the second video. And honestly, this was the clip that pushed me to investigate further. The way it was described online was so intense that I had to go look for the actual video myself. In this clip, the bride and groom were trying to take a picture with Governor Makinde. At some point, the bride moved towards the middle position, seemingly trying to stand between the governor and her husband. But then the groom gestured for her to move back towards the side. And this single moment became another major point of analysis. Some people interpreted that gesture as him pushing her aside or sidelining her. They argued that instead of acknowledging her or making space for her, he focused on greeting and embracing the governor without even looking in her direction. And from there, the interpretation became even deeper. Some people began saying a husband is meant to be your protector, and according to them, if he's already dismissing or overlooking you publicly, especially on your wedding day, then that could be a sign of something deeper. One particular comment even ended with, if you ignore the signs, you will see the wonders. And honestly, at that point, I had to pause and ask myself, are these people actually seeing something real? Or are we witnessing another case of social media overanalyzing ordinary moments? Now, if anyone were to judge this situation based on those clips alone, then honestly the conclusion people are drawing would not seem completely far-fetched. Because at face value, the clips do look a certain way. But here's the important part: context matters. And this is the part a lot of people tend to ignore. Do I understand people's concerns? Absolutely. Especially with everything happening these days. The constant conversations around failed marriages, relationship struggles, and all the stories we keep seeing online. Social media has exposed people to so many negative experiences that I think a lot of people have become overly sensitized, to the point where almost everything now looks like a red flag. Anything that feels slightly off immediately becomes a sign of danger. But the truth is, There are so many normal explanations for these moments. For example, the dancing video. Weddings are very exhausting. If you've ever had one or been deeply involved in one, then you know how physically and mentally draining they can be. At that point, the groom could simply have been tired. And sometimes exhaustion is so subtle that you don't even realize how blank or unresponsive you look. Meanwhile, the bride may still have enough energy to dance and celebrate. That alone doesn't automatically mean there is a problem. It could also simply be personality. Not everyone is expressive. Some people are naturally more reserved, even in big moments. Then the second clip, the one with Governor Makinde, there are also several possible explanations for that. Maybe he simply didn't want his wife standing between him and the governor for the photo arrangement. And if you watched closely, when he gestured to her, he was clearly saying something. There was communication, which means there was likely an understanding between both of them in that moment. And honestly, when I first saw those clips and read the caption attached to them, I was genuinely concerned too. That was what pushed me to investigate further. So I went looking. I checked through all the wedding videos I could find, especially on TikTok. And what I found told a much fuller story. In those videos, you could clearly see warmth, connection, and affection between them. Now, I won't sit here and tell you they love each other because I'm not in their hearts. But from the outside, from what is visible, there is clear chemistry and connection. And there are multiple clips showing the groom being fully present, engaged, and affectionate towards his bride, which raises an important question. Why are we allowing two short clips to define an entire relationship? That doesn't make sense. And I think this is where social media can become dangerous. Sometimes people speak out of genuine concern, but sometimes people also post things because they know controversy brings attention, comments, reactions, and engagement. And the truth is, if I stopped at those first viral clips without digging deeper, I might have walked away with the wrong impression too. That's how powerful selective narratives can be. But from everything I've seen so far, this looked like a beautiful wedding ceremony. The couple seemed comfortable with each other, the atmosphere looked warm, and nothing I've seen so far convincingly points to a problem. At the end of the day, a few isolated moments cannot define the reality of a relationship, a marriage, and certainly not a life together. But that's my take. What do you guys think? Did you see any other clips I might have missed? Or do you still think there is something deeper here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in my next one.